Hello everybody and welcome to today's webinar where we're going to be showcasing Splunk Observability Cloud. I'm Dan Gray from Somerford Associates. In my day job I deliver professional services, that's designing and implementing Splunk, but today I'm here in my other capacity as an observability sales engineer. Before we get started, let's take a look at this forward-looking statement slide. Today's presentation might contain forward-looking statements regarding the future of Splunk. Please don't make any investments based on anything that I say today. So here we are, Splunk Observability. What is it? Well, it enables you to explore the benefits of Splunk APM, RUM, infrastructure monitoring, and Log Observer Connect, all in one interface. It enables you to easily detect potential issues and identify root causes using high-resolution streaming analytics. We don't do sampling, it's real-time streaming analytics. It lets you instantly see how every user experiences your app and how each code change impacts performance, and allows you to keep total control over your data with no lock-in due to the Open Telemetry Collector. Splunk have their own fork of the Open Telemetry Collector, which they support. They also support on a best efforts endeavor of the native Open Telemetry Collector. So the first element of observability that I'm going to talk about today is Splunk Real User Monitoring, or Splunk RUM. What does it provide for us? Well, it gives us deep visibility into our iOS, Android, and hybrid apps. It lets you auto-capture common client attributes, app lifecycle events, network requests and errors for native and hybrid mobile apps. It gives us end-to-end visibility, which will help us reduce our mean time to resolution, with data that sticks together from web browsers through to the backend services. It lets us do full user session analysis. It measures the customer impact of every resource, image, route change, and API call with complete visibility across every user session. And it has a cool feature called Browser Session Replay that enables you to react more efficiently with video reconstructions that are correlated with the user session, and enables you to quickly reproduce issues. And we'll see that now in the hands-on portion of the demo. So moving on to the live session of the demo, you might say, hey, this is an observability cloud. No, it's not. It's a web front end of an online store, which is where we're going to get the real user perspective for Splunk RUM. So this online store is integrated into our observability cloud. So I'm just going to make a few actions here. I'm going to add this lovely typewriter to my cart and keep browsing. And I fancy a fancy coffee, so add in this home barista kit too. And after that, I'm going to change my currency to euros and check myself out. I'm going to place this order now. Everything has not gone swimmingly. We can see here we have some delay in processing the order. There we go. Order is complete. Now we're going to jump into our Observability Cloud. And here we are on the Observability Cloud splash page. When you first get into Splunk Observability Cloud, there's a bunch of helpful videos and tutorials that can help you get value from your data very quickly. Here we can see that our cloud is already set up for APM infrastructure monitoring, RUM, and synthetics. As I said, the first thing we're going to look at is real user monitoring, so I'll click into that now. We're going to browse down to our app, which is this one down here. And we're going to get a quick look at a very high level overview of some of the metrics in our application, our web front end store, our web store. By clicking into this tab here, the front end health, we can get a high level overview of what's going on the front end. Equally, the back end health, here we can see lots of different graphs, number of network requests, resource request durations, the time to first byte. Click here to our custom events tab, which has been set up for this demonstration. We can see here that we have event latency. Now, as we checked out through the store, we may have noticed that there was a bit of latency in the checkout process. So I want to find out what's going on here. So I'm just going to click this little see all button here, and it's going to bring us through to the tag spotlight. So what is the tag spotlight? It's a detailed view about what's happening in your environment. So first of all, I'm just going to add a little filter, because we can see here some OS versions, and we can see that the demo environment has generated some stuff, but we also have this number 10 here, which is an OS version 10. And I'm going to add that to the filter just as a handy way to narrow it down on my actual real world browsing of the store. So we can see here that this is actually me. I know that because I'm currently sat in Wolverhampton, so we can see this is the story of my purchase and checkout through the store, and we can see a number of different tags that have come out of that data application, and we can find out stuff about my browsing session, our browser name, our OS name, and this can help you narrow down if there's any problems, whether that's specific to a browser or a browser version, or maybe even an operating system. So next I'm going to click into the user sessions tab here. I'm going to take a look down some of these actions. We can see here that this one took 6.19 seconds. So I'm going to click into that one and see what we can see. The first thing I'm going to click here is this little replay button. We'll try and make it a little bit larger. And here we can see an anonymized version of somebody browsing the store. That somebody is me in this case. And we can see the cursor location, and we can also see, hopefully, where the cursor went, what the cursor clicked, and it shows you the experience of the user at the other end of the process. Next, we're going to take a look a little bit more in depth about what happened during this interaction, this trace. So I click down onto the cart checkout because I, as the user, noticed that there was something not quite right there. And we can see here that it took 6.54 seconds, of which the majority was this doc fetch here. So if I hover over the APM, I'm going to see here that a large proportion of the delay was caused by the application. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click through that workflow, and it's going to bring us handily through to the APM section of the Observability Cloud. So Splunk APM, Application Performance Monitoring, what does that provide us? Well, it's going to give us complete distributed tracing. It lets you identify problems in microservices more effectively by viewing every trace, which is seamlessly connected from backend services through to the web and mobile apps. You get the service mapping feature. Splunk's APM dynamically generated service maps provide DevOps teams with out-of-the-box visibility into all service interactions, inferred services, dependencies, and performances. We're going to see that and how user-friendly that is in a moment. We also have the tag spotlight, which allows us to quickly correlate events and provides a central location to understand how traces behave across your entire system. So here we are back into APM, and I've just clicked through from real user monitoring, and it's brought me to this page, and we can see the service map for this application. Now, what can we see at first glance? Well, we can see a giant red node within our application, the payment service. So intuitively, I'm going to click that red node and see what's going on. And this little pop-up comes up here. And we can see that this node, or this service within our application, is the cause of 88% of the errors. And not only that, it's the root cause of 88% of our errors. So what APM's done here has identified the root cause. It's not just one of the symptoms, it's actually the reason why we are getting lag and latency in our application. And that's automatically happened. So APM's figured out that this service here is the root cause of our problems. So that's interesting, and we might want to investigate a little bit more about that. And here we have some of the different tags associated with this service. I'm just going to click on the version tag here. And what we can see is there's two different versions of our application going through this service. And we can see that version 3.510, again, is the cause of our errors, while version 3.5.9 is not experiencing any errors. So that's interesting. What does that mean? Potentially we've introduced some sort of bug as we've updated our application, and the old version is absolutely fine, while the new version is causing some problems. So how are we going to investigate that a little bit further? Well, we could use the tag spotlight. We could do a bit more filtering here on the service map. But oftentimes, the logs contain the truth. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to just bring it down here. I'm going to click this button here called logs. I'm going to bring up the logs for the payment service within our application. And that's automatically going to bring us through to Log Observer Connect. So Log Observer Connect, what is it? Well, you can view the logs that are stored in Enterprise or Cloud. It's very important to say that these logs are not stored within your Observability Cloud. They are pulled automatically from your Splunk Enterprise or your cloud. And you don't need any SPL knowledge to view these logs. It's been integrated into Log Observer Connect in such a way that it will bring you the relevant logs to the service that you're looking at and the errors that you're interested in, without the need to learn SPL and write your own queries. And hopefully it can help you detect the source of problems quickly. So here we are in Log Observer Connect. And by clicking through from our APM tab, it's brought us the logs from our Splunk Cloud instance that are relevant to what we want to look at. So we've got the time window and all of the logs that are related to our payment service. Now what we want to try and do here is find what's going on, what's going wrong with our application. And as I said, logs often contain the truth. So we had a bit of a clue before about the version of our app that might be a part of the problem. So if I just search the fields here, these are the fields that are contained in the logs. Again, no SPL required, just using the search bar, and I found the version field. So what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to take the old version of the app and I'm going to include those results in our logs table. I'm just going to check what's going on in there. We can see the payment service, and the message we've received in this one is the transaction has been processed. Next, what I'm going to do is going to examine the logs relating to the other version of the application. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just remove that filter there. And this time I'm going to include the logs relating to the version 10 of our application. Here we can see that the severity on all of these logs, in fact, is error. Not surprising based on what we saw in APM, but if I click into one of these logs, again, no SPL required, just click right in there. And we can see that the severity of error, and again, the version there, just to confirm, we can see the message field in this case gives us the clue, and we finally figure out what's been going on. We can see that the payment has failed due to an invalid API token. So what have we learned, and how can we fix it? So first of all, through real user monitoring, we saw that there was latency being introduced in the checkout process. We then moved through to APM, and we were able to check what services were causing the problem within our application, and we saw that Splunk APM had deduced that the payment services was the root cause of our problems. Then we could have probably solved the problem using the tags and the tag spotlight within APM, but what we did for a little bit more information was just click through. It brought us through to Log Observer Connect, and we brought the logs through from Splunk Cloud, and we were able to find out that the latency was introduced because of a number of failed purchases due to an invalid API token. So it seems that in the new version of our application, the API token has changed, become invalid. Now everybody who's using or trying to go through the new version of the application is getting an error. And so to rectify that, we can just roll back to the old version of the application and fix the problem. And the last thing I want to show today is synthetics, also known as synthetic monitoring. What can it do for us? Well, it can improve our user journeys, offers competitive benchmarking against other applications, so you know whether your application is performing well compared to the competitors. And also it comes prepackaged with a number of optimization recommendations, over 300. So here we are back in our Observability Cloud. This time we're in the synthetics page. And we can see here a number of tests that have been set up. In our test environment, we're testing against a number of different online stores. So that's why the test type is browser. And I'll just click into this top one here for our online boutique. These synthetic tests are run against our web front end. I'm just going to change the filter here to make it a bit more timely and relevant to what I'm interested in. So instead of segmenting it by location, I'm going to change it to page. And I'm not bothered about the duration. What I want to know about this time is the first byte time. And we'll wait for our graph to load. And we can see here very recently we had a very high first byte time. And as I click that, we can see there have been multiple runs for a first byte time of 8.78. And I'm going to go and find one here, 2 seconds long, and it was a success. So I'll click into it and see what happened. And we can see that it's coming out of an AWS instance in Paris. That's where the test was originating from. And here we can see the results of our synthetic test. Now, there's multiple ways to view the results of our synthetic test. First of all, we could do a live replay. I'll make that a little bit bigger. And we can see the experience of our synthetic test. It's 51 seconds long, so I'll just speed things along. We can see that a camera was added to the basket, and they've gone through to the checkout process, gone to place the order, and what's happened? Will it be a success? Yes, it was. So back to the front page. So we saw that the test was a success in this case. The other way to view it is this film reel style thing here. You can see the screenshots that have been grabbed every second from the synthetic test. This time it's not anonymized because it's not generated by a real person. It's a synthetic test stated. So we can see what our synthetic user experienced as they went through the shop purchase and process over the 52 seconds that it took them to do so. Now here we can see a waterfall of the different microservices, what's happened during this synthetic test, a bunch of GET requests and posts. I'll just speed things along and move over to the checkout process because we know that's where our store is currently facing some problems. We can see here that the checkout process took a little bit of time. You had to wait for 2.5 seconds. Now that may be more than you're willing to wait. And what we are able to do from our synthetic test is that we would then be able to go through to APM and we'd be able to diagnose the problem just like we did from our real user testing. Now obviously the benefits of using synthetics over real user monitoring is that we don't have to subject any real people to this, so we can test it before we push it out to prod, preventing any sort of reputational damage. We're able to iron out the bugs and figure them out before we push anything to prod. So when we get to our real users, their experience is as seamless as possible. One element of observability that we haven't been able to see in the live portion of the demo today is infrastructure monitoring. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the features of infrastructure monitoring and what that might do for us. First of all, it provides instant visualization. If you choose to use the Splunk's hotel collector, it auto-discovers your entire stack in seconds and gives you visibility across clouds, services, and systems. Reiterating the point here, it can help you reduce mean time to resolution because the built-in data science gives you real-time actionable alerts across dynamic thresholds, which might cross multiple conditions and complex rules. It helps your team seamlessly align to business priorities. It enables you to answer business critical questions in context and monitor service level objectives and indicators instantly. It also allows you to track custom metrics for business KPIs. So you can see how outages and infrastructure problems might affect the overall business and how your work sits within the context of the business. It also has advanced Kubernetes monitoring. You can automatically discover and instantly visualize Kubernetes objects, their health, and their performance with customizable dashboards and charts. If this webinar has whetted your appetite for Splunk Observability, it would be great if you could join one of our hands-on workshops. In the hands-on workshops, you'll get an interactive experience. You'll have your own observability cloud to play with. The observability workshops are co-hosted by both Splunk and Somerford technical experts, somebody like me. You get a deeper understanding of Splunk Observability Cloud by actually getting hands-on. So you can see here the registration links. Follow those and you'll be able to sign up for one of our observability workshops. Here's some final resources to leave you with. Again, we have the link to our observability workshop. If you have any other questions, whether that's to do with observability or wider Splunk things, please shoot us an email at info@somerfordassociates.com. If you want to keep notified about webinars, workshops, and training opportunities, or anything wider about Somerford, we also have a LinkedIn account, which you can find there. And if you did miss a webinar or you'd be more interested in some of our other products, we have a suite of YouTube videos that you can find there on our YouTube channel. The final thing to say is thank you for your attendance today. It's been a pleasure to bring Splunk Observability Cloud to you. Thank you for your attention. Please don't hesitate to keep in touch.